list looks something like this, courtesy Bruce Feldman. Kirby Smart starts off at number 1. We've got Dabo Swinney in there at number 2. I think we're going to come back to him. Lance Leipold has upset everybody. He's jumped all the way up to number 3. Kalen DeBoer, comfy number 4. Ryan Day comes in at number 5. You got Brian Kelly, James Franklin at 6 and 7. Kyle Whittingham, sneaky, in there at number 8. Lincoln Riley and his dry brisket up at number 9. And Mike Norvell, the much ballyhooed Fighting Knowles, at number 10. Notable omissions we'll get to in a second, but I want kind of just your first reaction. Go back to when I sent this article out in our group chat. Garrett, lead us off. That first name that you were drawn to.
I cannot believe Dabo Swinney's sitting at 2. And I know what I just said. I realize I said you got to honor what people have done, but it really seems like Dabo kind of found his way through a championship and has been trying to ride some good graces since. For me personally, I think the hard thing to measure with Dabo Swinney is the fact that he hasn't really adjusted to the modern game, right? And I know that's crazy because he just won a championship, like a few years ago, and I guess it's a few more than it seems like. But this is a new game, right? This is a new game with the transfer portal, new game with NIL, and he has not embraced it. He has been extremely publicly against it. We broke a lot of that down on our Clemson being sort of the offseason losers episode that we did last time. But I mean, man, it just seems like, he's not willing to adjust to the current game. And so if you're telling me, oh, these are the best coaches currently coaching, then, I don't think you can put him nearly as high. If we're going to talk about best coaches of the last, 5, 6, 7 years, sure, I guess you could put him up there on the list somewhere. But I just don't think that right now he's really in that. Maybe I wouldn't be upset with the top 10, right? Maybe if you put him down 7, 8, 9, somewhere in there, that might, I can kind of justify it. He's still not a bad coach. It's not like he forgot how to coach. I still think he's one of the better culture builders in terms of just getting his guys in and knowing, hey, this is kind of what we do and what we play for. He's a good culture builder, but I don't think he's done anything recently, at least with the transfer portal or with, NIL, to really prove that he's ready for right now.
We talked about it in our losers segment from the last show, right? Has yet to take a transfer in this class. This past season was the first year since, I'm forgetting which season it was, 2013, 2014, that they hadn't won at least 10 games in the season. I mean, it seems like the boat's going in the wrong direction. Trey, I don't know how you feel about Dabo. Obviously, on paper, it looks great. 170 wins, 43 losses, 2 national titles. He's won a bunch of ACC championship games, but it kind of feels like we're resting on our laurels a little bit, putting him at number 2.
Yeah, he's a guy that's definitely past his prime. And if you think he's going to be able to recreate the magic that he had in the mid 2010s at Clemson, I have some oceanfront property in Arizona to sell you, because the odds that he is going to both hit on 2 quarterbacks in a row, the caliber of Deshaun Watson and Trevor Lawrence, and have all the talent that he had on those teams around him in the transfer portal era when he does not want to commit to the transfer portal is just astronomically low. It is not going to happen like it's happened for him in the past. Could he still dominate the ACC and get an auto bid to the playoff every year? Absolutely. Is he going to get skunked when he gets there, or when he gets to the semifinal or quarterfinal round? Yeah, I think so, because of the just comparative talent. Dabo was always the outlier at Clemson, right? Like, you would look at all these lists, you look at the recruiting rankings and the talent composites and say, okay, you need to be in this range to consider yourself a national championship contender, except for that one time Dabo Swinney did it. That's like the outlier. And on the one hand, you could say that makes you a great coach, but on the other hand, you could say, oh, you were really relying on NFL caliber and all pro caliber quarterbacks in Trevor Lawrence and Deshaun Watson. The odds that those guys are walking back through the door and having the defensive line and receiver talent around them, just really, really low in my opinion.